Hey everyone, Sarah Perez here. Today I'm interviewing the Wellness Decorator, Ann Powell. Now, Ann is going to teach us why decluttering and color are so important and some ways to reduce anxiety around decluttering. Because I don't know about you, but when I look at a corner or a room I have to declutter, I get so overwhelmed, I just don't even want to do it. So, Ann has some awesome tips on how to make that happen for us. And she is also going to teach us how to create our own sanctuary for our well being. This is the awesomest part of the interview. So I hope you enjoy and stay tuned. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Sarah Perez, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Ann Powell. Ann Powell is a wellness decorator and the founder of Home Healing Hues. After an impressive 20-year career as a sought-after design professional, she launched and ran her own successful home decor business. After Ann's best friend was diagnosed with cancer, her life completely changed. Her response was truly inspired. She accelerated her friend's healing journey by redoing the color scheme of her home, re-envisioning it in a more curative and restorative color. And Ann's key breakthrough from all of this was the understanding that decluttering, color, and decorating can powerfully recalibrate the mind, body, and soul. Her work focuses on immersing her customers in a seamless and holistic environment of calm, relaxing, and positive energy, creating healing spaces to enhance their mental, physical, and spiritual health. And today, she is going to teach us the steps that we can take to create our own home sanctuary. Ann, welcome.
Thank you for having me today, Sarah. It's a pleasure.
So I think that what you do is fantastic. I mean, there's always a reason why we do things, and there's always, there's always steps that we take for our overall wellness. How did you figure out that the color and the decluttering was really healing for your friend?
It was, if anything, it was probably her that realized first that being in her red family room wasn't the right color for her for when she was going to come home and recover from chemo. So she had reached out to me and asked me to come over with the colors, and I was kind of like, oh, okay. And then I came over and we went through colors, and she chose green, which is it's a very soothing color, and it's good for the mind and body, and it helps you relax and bring balance and everything, and it's good for healing.
That is so awesome. So is there is it like a one size fits all, like okay, green is healing and blue is something and red is something, or is it different for every person?
It's different for every person, but there's such a range when it comes to the colors, right? That it means different things for different people. So, like blue, just like green, is a very calming and tranquil color, but for some reason, that color just did not resonate with her at all. And if anything, at that time, she just didn't like it at all. Like it's almost like that made her angry, like a blue color versus having the red. And so, red's like a color like when you're happy and everything, that it's an energetic color. So so when she was healthy and everything, and she was sitting in her family room, then she was like happy in that space. But now it actually has the opposite effect. She got sick, and now if she sat in that space, it would bring out anger, because red is that vibrant color.
Oh, so red is kind of like it can either agitate in a positive way or agitate in a negative way. And for her at that point, it was a negative way.
Yes, and she felt that was going to do that. Hmm.
Wow, that's really cool. That's like the ultimate in color therapy, right?
Yeah, I know. You have no idea like what how color affects us on a daily basis, for sure.
Right. Now, what about the decluttering?
Yeah.
How does clutter contribute to stress?
Oh, it definitely can be stressful, and it can bring on anxiety and things like that. So even like right now with COVID-19, people didn't realize, like, we haven't spent so much time in our homes as we have the past like 9 months. So when this first happened, I think people were really getting stressed and depressed, and anxiety was happening. And it could have meant, because of having to stay in the house, that was one reason, but it also could have meant the environment that they were in without even realizing it, right? Because you're sitting in this color, so maybe whatever color you had, you didn't realize wasn't like, you know, making you happy or anything like that, because of something stressful that we were going on in our lives with. And just doing little changes like colors and rearranging your furniture or moving things around can like definitely make a difference for sure.
Yeah, I can see where if you're in your house maybe 2 hours a day because you're working outside of the home, the kids are going to
Yes.
school and all that stuff,
Yeah.
where you kind of can ignore your clutter for a little while, but then when you're in your house
Yes.
all the time and you're tripping over stuff,
Hmm.
it can get agitating. I could
Yeah.
totally see that. That is definitely one of my stories there.
Well, the thing is that people have to realize that that clutter is also affecting them, right? And I don't know if like if everybody always realizes it's that space that's actually doing that to them, And now all of a sudden, all the children are like, being homeschooled and stuff like that, and now it's trying to find a space for them that's like, that it has to be a clean space so that they can learn. You don't want them to be sitting like at a dining room table that's full of a whole bunch of different things. So they need to have the right space for them to learn in too.
Yeah, definitely. I know that there's a lot of moms out there that have experienced the stuff on top of the dining room table, and then when the kids are done with school, sometimes they don't clean up after themselves, and then you have to use that same table to sit down and eat dinner, right? So that could be really frustrating.
Mhm.
If you're a mom and you're trying to do all the things like work from home, school the kids from home, whether it be distant learning or just total homeschool, and everybody's trying to find their own spot, their own sanctuary, what would be the best place for a mom to start to create her sanctuary?
I would say the best space is actually a room that doesn't really get used very often. So if you actually have like a spare room, then that's the place to start. Like, sometimes people will have like a guest room, but right now we're not going to have guests or anything like that. And even if you have a guest, like, a couple of times a year, like that's one of the rooms that you could definitely turn into an office for yourself for sure. Like, or if there's any little nooks in the basement that haven't been, that aren't used, you can have like a quiet space down in the basement. So you want it to be like a quiet space for yourself, whether it's for you working from home or your children or anything like that. Like a not a space that something that's not disruptive to you.
Right. Would you recommend a bedroom?
No. Yes. When I do my presentations on how to turn your bedroom into a sanctuary, that's actually one of the things that I say not to do. So pretty well, a bedroom is supposed to be your bedroom for sleep. It shouldn't be an area that you turn into an office or a place for the kids to do homework and stuff. But I know a lot of people do that, so it's not that it's anything unusual, but it's just the bedroom should be pretty well just for that. You shouldn't have your exercise equipment in your bedroom, because really half the time you don't exercise in your space, you just use that for dirty laundry, right? So it's the same like for having a desk. Are you always going to use it for your office and like to do homework and stuff, or is it to put, just another place to put clutter? So
That's a really good point. So definitely when you're picking out furniture and stuff like that, if you are looking for new furniture, don't just buy a piece of furniture because you think it's cool and you can find a space for it, but actually be intentional with that, because otherwise it just collects clutter.
100%.
So okay, so basically use a spare room and or a place that's not as used. And so what's the first thing someone wants to do when they found that room, and now what? Now what did they do?
Well, if they have to start decluttering, then that's like a huge thing that you have to start doing. And I know that decluttering is mentally and emotionally very hard for people. Like when I declutter something, I'm like charge. I'm like right in there. Let's get this done as fast as possible. But a lot of clients that I've worked with, I have to take my time with them, like go like, do an hour a day, go back the next day, do another hour or two, because it just causes anxiety for people. And if you're going to do it by yourself, then I always suggest that you, like, just make a list of what you want to do in that space. get out the boxes, the garbage bag for the keepers, the things that you're going to dump, things that you're going to donate, and just slowly start getting ready for that space. But I put on music whenever my husband and I are doing anything to do decluttering or renovating or anything. We always have the music on. Just like you don't realize how fast the time will actually go. Like once you get started, the time goes fast, and if you have music on, stuff like that, then it goes quickly. You can even put a timer on and say, okay, I'm doing an hour today, and just do that little bit at a time.
Yeah, I like that tip because you're right. Everybody's different, and some people just like to get it out of the way and get done, and then 6 hours later, they're like, oh, look at how clean the room is. This is so great. But then some people are like, you know what, this is
Yeah,
way
yeah, you
overwhelming.
feel like you've accomplished. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for
Hmm.
sure. Definitely. You feel like something's accomplished, but I feel like the people that get overwhelmed, it's you don't want to intentionally overwhelm yourself. It's like, oh, I've got all this clutter. So I love that tip that you said about making a list of the things that you want to do and then just checking the list off one at a time so that it doesn't overwhelm you or cause any more
Right.
anxiety than the clutter is already causing on top of that, right?
And if you do one thing at a time, like, so say, I don't know, so say you have like a shelf full of a whole bunch of like, junk and everything that's on the shelf. Even if you did like one shelf at a time, then you can stand back and say, oh, I did this one shelf, took me an hour, it's clean, I got everything off of that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
It's a matter of you seeing what you've accomplished and everything too. Because if you're scatterbrained and you go like, from this one space and then over to another space and you spent like a couple hours, you're going to feel like you didn't do anything because you were all over the place versus just concentrating on one thing.
Yeah, definitely important. I know that we can get that way with our tasks, with our work as well. When we're trying to do all the things at the same time, and then we look back at our day and we're like, man, we didn't get anything done. So it's kind of like the same concept with clearing your clutter, right?
Yes.
So, okay, so say we've got everything decluttered now and the room's looking good. And do you have any more tips as far as like maybe furniture arrangement or color at this point? Or do we not add the color yet?
Yeah, so it just depends on what you're doing in your space. So another thing when it comes to decluttering, so once your space is finished and you have done everything, like my huge thing is in the end is that you have to, I always take 10-15 minutes every day in my basement at the end of the night, and I wash the dishes and I put the pillows back on the couch and all that. Cause it's amazing how like, when you come down the stairs and it's all finished in the morning, you really feel good about it versus like just keeping whatever and say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow kind of thing, right? Because if you keep saying, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, then those tomorrows and the next day and the next day, a little bit of clutter keeps adding and adding and adding. Whereas if you do that 10 to 15 minutes a night, then you feel much better. So that's when the room is done. So depending on like, so my business, I do like, like different things. So I say there's like a brush up package where it's like, you're going to do some decluttering, you're going to paint yourself. I'm going to help you with choosing colors. You're going to reuse your furniture, or you're just going to buy like a few like knickknacks here and there, maybe like a rug or a chair or something like that. So if you're going to buy any kind of furniture, then we wouldn't pick the color next. But if you're going to reuse like what you already have, then we would kind of like choose the color like around what furniture, existing furniture and everything you have. But you don't want to choose furniture or choose colors before you shop. Because so say for example you're doing your bedroom and we've chose, we'll just say like a lavender or something, right? But there's so many different ranges of purples or anything like that. Now say like we can't find the proper comforter afterwards, right? So now you've painted your room purple, but now there's not a comforter that goes with it. So if you're going to get a new comforter, then get the comforter first, and then we decorate around the comforter.
Ooh, that's
So
a
it
good
just
idea.
depends on which step.
So basically, we've got it all decluttered. We make sure we do our 10 or 15 minutes a night to keep it that way once it's done. And then we have like, say we've got these really cool couch pillows that we found and we love the color or some of the
Yeah.
color accents in them. So then we go and take that to like the paint store and say, okay, this is the color I want on the walls. And then what?
Yeah, so I always say there's like you were saying, there's something that inspires people. So whether it's a piece of art or a color in a rug or a pillow or anything like that. And then, and for me, um, I still like, even when I choose colors, I always will get a paint can sample and paint it on the wall in different spots, because lighting in a house, like, it changes so much. Like, even though we're changing, picking a color from this small little paint chip, it can look totally different in different lights and in different rooms in your home. So I always suggest to even go and just buy like a paint can and do little spots. I just did that in my office. I've done that in the basement. Sometimes I pick 3 colors for myself. As decorators, it's the hardest to pick colors for ourselves versus our clients.
There's
I've
a
been
little
like
more
that for years.
attachment there, probably, like, oh no, I know this color and that color.
So
Okay,
then
so
you decide if you're going to paint yourself or if you're going to hire a painter. So that's why I say this is
mm,
kind of like a brush up. Like, so say with for my friend, I went over and helped her paint and with her daughter and her, right? So if you don't have that big of a budget, then it's like you invite your friends, your family, say, oh, come and help me paint or stuff like that. But if you're going to do it where it's like you have a budget where you're going to hire everybody, then you can hire painters, and I have all contractors and stuff.
ooh, okay, yeah. So that's definitely a thing to think about. I find that hiring people can be helpful and sometimes not so helpful. So I definitely recommend that you know what type of person you are and how you like things, and go with that. Because I mean, paint parties can be fun. I do my own painting, but I like painting. My dad, not so much. He would rather hire
Yes.
somebody to do it.
Yeah, a lot of people find painting very relaxing too. So, like, if you do find that, then I definitely would recommend that you do it for yourself, because it's good for your mental health. If you're finding it just like, you're not thinking, you're just like painting the space, and taking, maybe you feel it's time away from work and everything, and you just find it calming to do. So,
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I would definitely agree with that. If painting is kind of like your thing and you don't have to think about too much, that is super awesome. So I did want to ask you, and I think we briefly touched on this in a prior conversation, but I would like to get your thoughts on the color beige or white for walls.
beige, or I haven't heard beige in a long, long time. It's always gray. It's always grayish now. It's that gray and beige mixture, so they call it grayish. So
Grayish.
that's
Oh, I
what
like
people
that.
seem to be going. Yes, so that seems to be the go-to color. Like, people who either don't like just beige or they don't like just gray, then they kind of do a combination of both together. And then white for decorating. You know what? It's all depends on people, like, individually. Is this for yourself, Sarah, that you're kind of thinking, or
Well,
are you
I'm
just
in the
asking as a general?
process. Yeah, I mean, I'm asking as a general thing, but I'm in the process. I have a white walled room and I want to color it all the colors, right? But this is the main sanctuary that I'm in. And I know a lot of people like me have white walls and they're thinking, I don't even know what to color them. Maybe I should go with beige because it's a safe, a lot of people think grayish or beige is a safe color to go with. And I'm just wondering, what your thoughts are on as far as like, is it healing? Is it not healing? Does it depend?
It all depends on you, though. Like, don't see, because that's the thing. I find that I'm different than some decorators. Some decorators will go in and say, oh, pick Revere Pewter or pick this Covington Gray or whatever, right? But you can't just go in and tell someone to pick white or beige or grayish or anything like that. It has to do with what you love and what resonates with you. I even have my clients like I'll do a meditation with them to visualize what their room is going to look like and what is coming through for a color. So some clients it's actually been white, other clients it's been like, different colors like blues and stuff like that. So the room that you're in right now, is this your office? That's white, right? Is that what
It
you're saying?
is, yeah.
Yeah, so I just redid my office and I did blue and I love it. Like we're still doing a lot of work in it, but I was like, wow, like this is unbelievably amazing. And again, why wouldn't you want to work and have your office with the blue room? Why does it have to be white? Why does it have to be beige? Why does it have to be gray? It doesn't matter. Like, what's wrong with painting walls blue or green or anything like that? I have a client who has a green office, people who have blue offices. You don't have to pick that neutral tone.
Right, right. And again, it kind of depends on balancing out with those other accent colors, like the color of your chair or the color of your wall paintings or whatever, right?
Yeah, so it just all depends. But you just get, well, when you put it all, even if I have blue walls, it's all gonna flow together, whatever I do, right? Flow to me is like very important that everything has to always match and go together. So I could
Yeah.
have added another color with the blue, or I can just keep that room blue. So with that room, it seems to be staying blue. All these years that I've been decorating, until the past couple years, I've never even had clients that have said to me that they want white, and I'm just like, thank goodness. And even in this basement that I'm in right now, that I've created, that I call my blissful space, like it's paneling and the ceilings are like 6'4". So I did white, and then the wall in front of me, we put up the floating shelves and it was white, and I was just going to do this one little section, and I couldn't look at it. I couldn't handle looking at the white. There's not like really a bare white wall in here. There's a picture or something against it because I can't handle it. So that's what I mean. It just depends on how you are as a person. Like white and me don't go together. Gray and me don't go together. When people have just gray and no like accent colors, I'm just like, how can you do that? Because when it's gray outside and it's raining, how do we all feel? Depressed. I don't want to
Yeah.
get out of bed. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to drive. So when they have just gray in their house, I'm just like, oh my gosh, how can you do this?
Yeah.
Like gray with like yellows and blues and purples is a whole different story. But when it's just gray or just white and there's no accent colors, I'm just like, wow. But that's, again, we all resonate different with colors, and that's what I talk about all the time.
Wow, that's cool. Now, that meditation that you do sounds really awesome. So, if somebody were to come to you and say, hey, I got this space, I really don't know what to do with the colors, can you help me? Do you do the like virtual things, or do you like say, okay, step one, declutter this shelf, and step two, declutter this box on the floor, or whatever? Do you take them through that whole journey?
Yeah, I definitely. I've just started doing virtual. I find the hardest thing for people is choosing the colors. But so far I've done pretty good. So it's not too bad. But yeah, color I find is the hardest thing, especially like if you show me a pillow and you're like, excuse me, can you like, match this pillow? It's kind of hard to do, right? So I try and do my best, and taking pictures with cameras and that, they're totally different from when I see it in a picture versus being there. And virtual, I love being hands on. Like I love being there in the mess with people and helping them with everything. But that's just how I am as a decorator. So moving
Yeah.
furniture around with them and
Oh,
playing around and doing stuff like that. But I definitely do virtual.
that's cool. Yeah, I could see where on a computer screen or on a camera or a picture of something, it does distort the color versus looking at the item in real life. I definitely understand that. So that's really cool though that like you can like say because I'm in Las Vegas and you're in Canada, and so like if I wanted help with certain colors or whatever, like you would say, hey, go to like a store and take your pillow or what, like just using pillow as the example, right? Like take your pillow and have them match the color and then paint a little square on your wall of that color with the little pint
Yep.
of color that they give you and kind of go from there.
Yeah, because now that a lot of shopping can be done online and stuff too, right? So we can
Oh
all
yeah.
do shopping together and do shopping lists that way. So I can do that definitely from a distance. I can show
Yeah.
you how to, like, how to move things around from a distance. So like everything else isn't too bad. It's pretty simple, but it's just, yeah,
That's
only the
cool.
color to get it right.
What is like your ideal sanctuary for yourself?
For myself, oh, Definitely color. As much color as possible is definitely my priority. And having so right now I have like my so when I do a client too, I also create like because I do like the healing space too, right? So it's kind of we're using natural products for cleaning. You're bringing in your salt lamps, your essential oils. I'll like if I feel like you need a journal, I'll get you a journal to write in. So I don't. That's why I call myself the wellness decorator because it's not just about decorating. It's about creating a healing space for people. I'm always there for them talk. I love hearing my clients' stories. Sometimes they'll like, write me a whole page and I'll be like, wow, you feel comfortable with me. You just told me your whole life story, which is great. But because it's so I can use intuition to kind of feel, what it is that they need. So yeah, so that's what it is. It's having, patterns and textures and warmth of colors and having all that energy in your space, like clear. I don't do the like for clearing. I just mostly have a sage spray versus using sage kind of thing. But yeah, and
Yeah.
inspirational quotes and all that kind of things. That's my kind of healing space. Things that mean a lot to me.
Yeah, that sounds really cool, especially like the salt lamp and the journal. It's like, oh, I want to be there. That's what I want in my healing
Yes.
space. Cool. All right. Well,
Yeah.
this was enlightening. I really appreciate you taking the time out to explain kind of how to decorate your home for wellness. And if anybody needs your help or wants to learn more about you, where could they find you?
They can email me at Anne at homehealinghues.com or find me on Facebook under Home Healing Hughes. And I also have a Facebook page called Ann Powell Everything Home.
I'll put all those links in the comments below this video. This is not really a video, but I'll put it in the comments so you guys have that. So thank you so much, Anne, for sharing your wisdom and with all of the colors and all of the things. I already feel more relaxed. Like I want to do something in my home to make it less cluttered and add some color and really create a sanctuary of my own. So I thank you for that.
Thank you for inviting me.
Take care, everybody. If you like this video and you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you want to see more from us, helpful videos to help you deal with stress, don't forget to hit the subscribe.